Restored Republic via a GCR, update as of Wednesday 20th of October, 2021. Compiled Wednesday 20th of October, 2021 12:01 a.m. EDT by Judy Byington, MSW, LCSW, therapist journalist, author, 22 Faces, Inside the Extraordinary Life of Jenny Hill and Her 22 Multiple Personalities. The Hidden War, Nick Fleming. We here in the United States, have been involved in a hidden war for control of God's country. What the communists/Nazis/Satanists, etc., don't understand was that God always won. For every harm committed there would be an even greater correction. For every theft committed there would be/has been an even greater correction. This went for every innocent ever harmed, enslaved, or oppressed. An even greater correction was in the queue ready to fly into action. This time the correction would be a clean sweep, eliminating every bad actor, bringing, suppressed, new quantum technologies to the fore. Traitors were going to disappear. Corrupt politicians were disappearing. Treasonous world leaders were dying of COVID and evaporating from the world stage, all underway right now. Boom. The real news of Tuesday, 19th of October. Oleg Deripaska is a Russian billionaire who made his fortune in the aluminum industry. He's one of many people that were sanctioned by the Trump administration over corruption charges pursuant to a December 2017 executive order instructing the Treasury Department to freeze the assets of people and entities involved in human rights abuse, human trafficking or corruption. Union Pacific Railroad filed a lawsuit in the U.S. District Court after receiving messages from 3 unions protesting against the vaccination order. Participating unions include the Transport Division of the International Association of Sheet Metal, Air, and Rail Workers, SMART-TD, the Brotherhood of Locomotive and Train Engineers, BLET, and the Brotherhood of Repair Workers, BMW. This action is necessary to prevent any disruption to the national rail network and to avoid any impact on America's supply chain as it continues to recover from the pandemic, UP spokeswoman Robin Tiswell said in an email. Small black square, the FBI searches the home of Russian oligarch and billionaire Oleg Deripaska in Washington. Small black square, the canteens of British schools scan the faces of children to charge money for meals. Small black square, Trump sued the January 6 committee in the National Archives to keep secret the records of the presidency claimed by members of the committee. Small black square, China is planning a new law providing for liability for parents of children who commit crimes or behave very badly. Small black square, the United States refused to join the negotiations on Afghanistan announced by Russia. Small black square, the president of the Chicago Police Union says that more than 3,000 officers do not comply with the city's obligation. The police department warned officers about the consequences. Small black square, Washington State University, WSU, fired Nick Rolovich, the highest paid employee, and 4 of his assistants for failing to comply with requirements. Small black square, Trump on Colin Powell, he was a classic Reno, always the first to attack other Republicans, made a lot of mistakes, but in any case, may he rest in peace. Small black square, Biden will meet with Pope Francis on October 29 before attending a 2-day summit of G20 leaders in Rome, where he hopes to reach an agreement on a global minimum tax of 15%, White House officials said on Thursday. Small black square, we welcome tough competition, Psaki when asked about China's space nuclear weapons capable of evading U.S. missile defense systems. Small black square, Turkish President Recep Tayyip Erdogan said that the victorious countries of the Second World War, which are permanent members of the United Nations Security Council, UN, should not determine the fate of humanity. Small black square, a section of Trump's official website has been attacked by the Turkish hacker group Ruta Yıldız. Small black square, Facebook is concerned that new leaks of internal documents will get into the network in the near future. Small black square, the president of the Czech Republic Zeman cannot fulfill his duties, according to the report of the military hospital for the Senate. Small black square, the lowest temperature in mid-October in half a century was recorded in Beijing against the background of the tense energy situation in China. Small black square, the last 6 months in Antarctica were the coldest in the entire history of observations. I Save America, President Donald J. Trump October 18, 2021. Memo, lawsuit filed to defend executive privilege, U.S. Constitution. Today, President Donald J. Trump filed a lawsuit in defense of the Constitution, the office of the President, and the future of our nation, all of which the Shaman Select Committee is trying to destroy. The fact is America is under assault by Pelosi's communist-style attempt to silence and destroy America First patriots through this hyper-partisan and illegitimate investigation. The January 6th committee is a partisan sham to distract Americans from the Democrats' policies that are killing and robbing Americans. For example, the border crisis is flooding our communities with drugs and gangs, while costing taxpayers billions. By defunding the police and embracing criminals, Democrats have made our cities less safe. The unconstitutional mandates are destroying the economy. The media is complicit in advancing the committee's unconstitutionally flawed request. This committee exposed itself as a sham by requesting documents which serve no legitimate legislative purpose. What does President Trump's campaign polling data from Florida have to do with an investigation into January 6th? The legal argument: 3 pillars. No legitimate legislative purpose. The legislative committee's request fails to meet the basic requirement of fulfilling a legislative purpose. The request is not just overly broad, it requests documents including campaign polling data. What does Congress hope to learn from this? Newsflash: polling shows Biden's approval cratering and 2022 slipping out of Democrats' grasp. No wonder the Democrats and the media want to distract America from the surrender in Afghanistan, skyrocketing inflation, a border crisis, and a stalled legislative agenda. Former presidents have inherent constitutional rights of privilege. An incumbent administration does not have the constitutional authority to unilaterally waive the executive privilege of a previous administration, especially one so recent. If it did, then executive privilege doesn't exist, including for Joe Biden. Newsflash: no one is following this argument more closely than 1. Hunter Biden and his art dealer, 2. The woke generals and intel leaders who advised the surrender in Afghanistan and the bombing of innocent civilians and children. 3. Big tech, who has been actively engaged with the Biden administration to subvert democracy through dark money organizations. Time for review: the National Archives and Records Administration, NARA, has not even had the time to compile and organize the documents being requested by Congress, which is the largest request in American history. President Trump and Joe Biden should be afforded the time to diligently review any protected and privileged documents before it is released to the public. Newsflash: the committee is motivated by one thing: delivering political wins for the Democrats. That's why they've set a rapid timetable that steamrolls the Constitution, legal precedent, and established process. The committee isn't seeking the truth, it's seeking communist-style political persecution of President Trump and the America First patriots who served their country honorably. Taylor Budowich, Director of Communications. President Donald J. Trump and Save America PAC. J. Trump plus Q. Halloween is a satanic ritual event. Do not encourage it nor celebrate it. It's time to wake up to the satanic rituals and end them once and for all. They use this day for harvesting bad fear energy. They are also using your kids for this ritual. Why do you think schools are celebrating with your kids? They own the schools, so they do this satanic ritual with your kids worldwide without people even knowing. Do not play any satanic roles disguising or encouraging Halloween anymore. Stop giving them more energy. Better wake up once and for all and help others wake up by informing others about this satanic ritual event. It needs to be stopped now. Everything horrific is bad and evil. Halloween is all about evil, blood, horror, spiders, reptiles, gargoyles, witches, skulls, deaths, etc. Why you think it's the day that there's the most kidnapping, murders and crimes? They call it the harvest. The worst satanic day of the year is 31st October. This is good versus evil. Wake up everyone. Halloween and satanics are over. Where we go one, we go all. Trust the plan. Q. Judy note, according to a global currency reset insider, on Sat. 16th of October, monies from Dubai 1 and Dubai 2 became liquid and bonds were paid out for the GCR to go forward. On Monday 18th of October, German bonds and Yellow Dragon bonds likely went liquid, but there was no confirmation. If so, it would turn on a green light and 26 master accounts would release funds to pay masters. The general public Tier 5 would follow in about 3 days, or around Wednesday 20th of October. The exact timing was unknown for notification of Tier 4B to set redemption/exchange appointments. We just know it's very soon. Restored Republic. General Flynn described the evolution of the Illuminati-controlled deep state, or cabal, from the military-industrial complex of the 1950s to the present-day surveillance state that was accountable to no one. A. Summary of 2's. 19th of October update: May 16, 2020 POTUS said 2021 will be amazing, that we would transition in fourth quarter. Fourth quarter, 10:01 to 12:31. Fourth quarters were when games were finished and won. Middle. Whiplash 347 2's. 19 October 10:00 AM EDT. My sources say Durham will be holding a press conference on an arrest within 24 hours. I can say no more. Middle. The deep state has had control of the U.S. taxpayer dollars since inception of the IRS and Federal Reserve in the early 1900s. This Illuminati-controlled cabal has used up all the monies to where a fiat dollar has existed since the 2008 mortgage crisis, when they were unable to even pay interest owed on their original loan of gold from the Chinese elders. Middle. Global currency reset. Meanwhile, with backing of the Chinese elders' gold, there were 209 countries of the world which were implementing a gold/asset-backed global currency reset so as to return each country's tax monies back to the people. Middle. By Monday 25th of October, the world stock markets, owned by the cabal, were set to crash. Evergrande, China's indebted giant property developer, has $300 billion in debt and has missed a series in bond payments. The real estate giant will be officially in default if the company does not make good after a 30-day grace period for a missed coupon payment that was due on Sept. 23 and in default on October 23 when the grace period for payment ended. Middle. Because of its negative effect on the world economy, the Chinese Communist Party's Bitcoin, which has zero backing, was set to be destroyed in a global military operation of the alliance. Middle. Crimes against humanity. Nuremberg II, military tribunals on the cabal's global and political elites, has already begun in 5 or 6 countries including Gitmo, and all would conclude by Thursday. 11th of November. Middle. B. What to expect in the upcoming perfect storm: middle. Between now and Thursday, 11th of November, expect a market crash, blackouts, revelations, a military takeover, lockdown, and mass arrests. Middle. Nuclear reactors hacked by rogue states such as the Chinese Communist Party, CCP, Iran and Israel. Middle. World Internet will be shut down, including MSM, Big Tech, some power etc. Middle. The Emergency Broadcast System, EBS, will be activated. Middle. Bitcoin CIA server under the Three Gorges Dam will be removed. The event China Dam, Tiananmen Square and Wuhan Big Pharma Labs leads into 34 satanic buildings getting hit with rods of God and flooded. This will surely make the stock market collapse. C. Food, fuel and goods crisis: record number of container ships waiting to enter ports of Los Angeles, Long Beach. 100 ships are frozen at sea outside the ports of Los Angeles and Long Beach, making the backlog of cargo ships the worst it's ever been, KBC reports. New to 45 ships are expected to arrive by Thursday. Secretary of Transport, and Biden lackey, Pete Buttigieg, who recently returned from 2 months paid paternity leave, called the issue complicated and said the government is working with ports, truckers and logistics companies to resolve the supply chain crisis. Judy note, in general U.S. ports were owned by private entities, and not necessarily U.S. citizens had control. For instance, the port of Los Angeles was owned by the Chinese Communist Party. Hundreds of cargo ships have been stranded for weeks off of both U.S. coasts. Truckers claim it was because the big corporations wanted to create shortages so they could up the price of goods. Some cargo won't make it. Rotting food was said to be on some of the ships. Nick Fleming, to all of Tier 4, know this: there is no lack of food, or energy, or of the money to buy these things. There is only the systemic correction taking place. This systemic correction is global in scope and lawful for one and all. The protocols chronicled and organized decades ago, refined and maintained by white hats, champions of many nationalities, all unified with a common goal, are being followed to the letter. The proof of this, win/win, is being delivered right here on the www, and through the many channels we've laid over the years. There's no holding this back. There's no keeping the facts hidden, no matter what the C_Shells report. The world as you know it is shifting. It had to be managed this way to stop the WEF/UN/BIS/EU Nazi, Khazarian takeover with their One World Order event. It had to be done this way to guarantee 100% safety for Tier 4 massive generational correction to take place. We passed the point of no return, and there's no stopping this rollout from rolling out. How wonderful this rollout will actually be is another personal choice. Personally, we can all choose abundance in all good things, for one and all. The best of the best. Now, let's see evidence leading to this marvelous tipping point, the point where all things become transparent. It's almost here. The hallelujah moment. It's a personal choice. Make it personal today. Global economic crisis: China's indebted giant property developer, Evergrande, was expected to enter default when the grace period for its first missed bond payment ends next Sat. 23rd of October. Within 24 hours the effect will hit the world's stock markets. BlackRock with 40% plus of its $9.2 trillion hedge fund, will go into crises and globally the housing bubble will crash. HSBC, the British-based bank which is heavily overextended in the Chinese housing market, will also be in immediate crises. Evergrande and others will likely then usher in collapse of property and real estate markets, which account for over 30% of the Chinese GDP and worth over $55 trillion. The global military operation was set to shut down Bitcoin mining, which was invented by CIA, UK royals, Rothschild, Guthrie Castle, and put mainly in the hands of the Chinese Communist Party for nefarious activities.